Hey everyone, welcome back to Bros and Shows. I'm your host, Josiah, aka Mauler67, and with me, as always, I got my buddy, I got my pal, my brother Austin. Austin, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm doing pretty okay. This weekend was a little havoc based because yesterday my friend Josh had a thing that he puts on about 2 times a year, sometimes less, every so often, called the Nintendo Olympics, where he invites people over and then they divide everyone up into teams, and then they play a bunch of games for all the different Nintendo systems that ever came out. And the games are randomly selected, but then each team gets to select one game for a console that they decide. And so the breakdown, for instance, like Switch, they had this Mario Go-Kart 8, 64 was Diddy Kong's Racing, like it was a bunch of things. And I got paired up with a guy named Starkey. He was pretty cool. And we did really good, outside of the fact that the only time we lost, we got 0 points on the bracket, so that's why we couldn't win. But we were second place. And guess what game we played for the SNES, or for the NES, Austin?
Blades of Steel?
Yep, we played Blades of Steel, and we won first place. We destroyed them, man. Absolutely destroyed them. Now, I joked to Josh, I'm like, well, I'm going to have to send a message to my brother telling him I made him proud by winning Blades of Steel.
Blades of Steel.
Blades of Steel. I forgot how, simplistic that game was. Like, it was horrifically simplistic. But the one thing I did laugh is that we did get a fist fight one time, and we beat the crap out of the person and then just flew past. We also were the only team that got a penalty shot called, and I didn't know how to do it because I didn't remember, and then the other person didn't know how to do it, so I just pressed the button. My dude just shot it forward, and then the goalie just stood there and just accepted it. And so it's like, well, that happened. But yeah, no, it was fun. We did all that stuff. I ended up staying with them. I was debating on getting a hotel depending on how my back felt, but the whole time I didn't use my cane. I just kept it in the corner and just walked around set as I see fit. So that's solid. That's good news, I feel, all the time. And yeah, that's what I did. And then after I woke up this morning, we hung out for a bit, went and got coffee and some breakfast sandwiches at some local coffee shop. And then I drove back home. And I got home and then went, oh crap, I need to finish Ducktales. So I then proceeded to finish Ducktales. I had to speed it up because I had to make up some grounds. But that was okay. I got it done. I got to enjoy most of it. I may rewatch it just to enjoy the show in a more not stress-based one, because I felt like I missed out on some of the more minute details of some of the episodes. But I did definitely make conscious effort to slow down specific episodes, one being the Darkwing Duck episode, the little hour-long special that they had for that. So yeah, other than that, good weekend, hung out, did all that stuff. What about you, man?
Well, if you're looking at me right now, it's kind of a change in the background a little bit.
Yeah, you're Batman.
No, it's is it that dark in here?
So the issue you have is that you only have one light on you, so it looks like you're just a floating head in space, but the rest of the room, the different colors you can see. I will say, with the coloration difference, you can really tell your camera's weird bug that it has with the bars. You can really tell.
Yep.
But you just look like a floating head in a background. That's perfectly fine, man.
Well, that's my new camera. What are you talking about? The floating.
No, it's because your shirt's dark and your face is also dark.
Yeah.
And so it just looks like a neck with a head.
I couldn't just do this.
Well, if you did that, we could see you, but now it just looks like you're getting flashed. Yeah, you're just getting It looks like you're
Where are
looking in
you?
the briefcase from Pulp Fiction the whole time.
Yeah.
You need to get
Um,
yourself a secondary light to put in the
Yeah, no.
background. That's all you need to do.
I have one here, but the battery died on it. So I was like, oh yeah, because these are like USB, lights.
Oh, okay.
It ran and it didn't get fully charged. Probably halfway through the podcast, I'll throw it up there.
Okay, that's all good.
But no, why it's a change of scenery is because the room that I was usually in, we actually have bought bunk beds for it, and we have switched it to a room for foster care. So we got like a really good deal on a set of bunk beds and stuff. And I came home, and my wife was like, "Don't kill me," and I was like, "What's going on?" And she's like, "Just don't kill me." And I walked in, and the whole house was like just cluttered. It was like full of all this stuff. And I was like,
So
what is
normal. Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
And I was like, what are you doing? She's like, yeah, I'll figure it out. And I'm like, figure it out? They gave me anxiety. So we ended up getting the bunk beds ready and stuff like that. And then we moved my computer into this room, our bedroom, because that's where it's going to be, while the foster kids stay in the other room.
Mhm.
And I made the mistake of trying to take a coax cable for my internet that was in the other room. When I first moved in here, I made the Spectrum guy put the codex cable for the internet in that room. And I was like, hey, I want you to draw that line to that room. And he's like, okay. And he did. But then I was like, oh man, now I gotta have the wire in this room for my modem so I can hardline. And so I was like, oh, I'll just put down the hole, and then I'll drill another hole and just put it up. And I was like, oh wow, this vent over here, I could just run it through the vent. That's even perfect. So I started pulling the line, and it wouldn't come down. And I was like, huh, what the heck's going on here? Then I came back upstairs and realized that the little codex adapter thing, was what that guy did was he ran the line, then went upstairs and then put the adapter on. And he didn't measure the hole, so it doesn't go down to the hole. So I was like, oh, okay, that's not good. Mm-hmm. So I was trying to make the hole bigger, and I was using a drill to do it, and I ended up destroying the codex cable. I had to go out and buy an adapter to make those little adapters for the codex, because I watched a video and I was like, oh, this is really easy. You just have to have the tools. Okay. So I did. End up doing that. Everything's just been so hectic. I got a promotion at my job. I'm starting to start school again here soon. I changed my degree and what I'm planning on doing. I plan on, I was going to be a history teacher. I have decided that I am going to be in social work and be an SSA. That's what they call that. It's pretty much someone that deals with developmental disability people, like I always do, and I'm really good at it. But pretty much what I would do is help an individual with his money. If he needs a place to live or anything like that, I'd be the one that would set that up for him. And then I would be the person that they'd be like, hey, we need this done for this individual. Can you get a hold of these resources? And I'll be like, yeah, here's a resource. So it's a nice government job.
So you're like accountant almost.
Kind of. It's more of it deals with them getting fed, getting certain things like food and stuff like that. It's pretty much just me making sure that they are living a good life. And that's all that is. I'm just doing that, but it will be at the office where I get a hold of I'll help people just pretty much live their life. People with developmental disabilities, they are independent, and I just need to I'll be the person that helps them get a house, or if they are okay to drive, they can get a license. I'm that kind of person that does that stuff for them. I'll be the ones that do all the legal stuff for them, so that the people that work with them, DSPs, what I'm doing now, can help him do what he needs to do to get stuff done. Or the resources he needs to make sure that he lives his life to the best and fullest life. So yeah, that's what I plan on doing now, which I'm really excited about. After I told my wife, I've been thinking about it for a while now, and she's like, I don't know why you never thought of that before, because you're so good at this job that, even the owner of the company is a huge fan of you. So you know, I was like, I wasn't playing. I love where I work, and the thing is I was approached by an old supervisor of mine that I really enjoyed. He was a great guy. He's a really good guy, and he gave me an offer. He was like, "Hey, man, can I get you out of this company? And I'm willing to give you this." And it had a lot of great things. I was like, man, I could do this. I'd only work Monday through Wednesday, you know, and I'd be done from work, and then I could pretty much have the whole week off, and then I get paid more than what I get paid there. And so I told my supervisors, like, hey, man, before I accept your job offer, I'd like to talk to the guy that owns the company, because he's been so good to me and my wife and like just me as a boss that it's hard for me just to like let go of that. And so I told him what happened. I said, you know, this is looking like something I want to take. And once he found that out on Monday morning with the higher ups that I have, like my supervisor, he called me. He was like, why? Do not leave. And I was like, well, I you know, I need this, this, and this. And he's like, done. I'll do that. I'll even do one better. Would you like a, you know, PC position, which is pretty much assistant manager? And I was like, yeah, totally. He's like, it's Monday through Friday, 8 to 4. You know, you have to cover shifts if you need to cover shifts, but you know, you're getting paid way more than, you know, like what you were making. So I was like, yeah, that's fine. So I took the position. I've been waiting for me to train on it, but yeah, it's been a really busy week for me.
Now, does that begin?
That begins at the beginning of September.
Okay.
Yeah, that does. And then I've been taking foster classes so we can get our foster care license. So yeah, we're doing all that stuff. It's been just a long process right now. It's been long and you know, just a lot of work.
Yeah.
Like after the shift, I mean, after we do the podcast, I actually have to go on shift for the night shift because somebody had an emergency. So they asked me, hey, could you do it? I'm like,
yeah, it's my job now.
I'll make some money. I'll go lay on a couch.
Oh, that's good, Austin. Well, that's good. I'm glad all that's working out for you. I can't wait to come and see you in a couple months or so and see all the progress you're making and all that moolah you'll be making then too. Ooh. Speaking about adoption, Austin, and fostering, we watched Ducktales season 3.
That transition, brother.
That transition, brother. It's like I planned it. No, I didn't.
No.
But no, Austin, we watched Ducktales season 3, the final season of Ducktales. And after 2 seasons of this into the third one, Austin, I have to ask you, what did you think of Ducktales season 3?
I think that this show was very well done. It had a beginning, it had a middle, and it had an end. Like they knew what they were doing from.
That sounded almost like an insult. Like, I mean,
yeah,
they knew what they were doing. There's a beginning, a middle, the end. What more can you ask for? Did you watch it? No, I just know they have those things.
Beginning, middle, and there's some story in there. You know, someone probably falls in love.
At some point, someone falls in love. Other people falls in love. You're kind of confused with who's in love with who.
Someone dies or leaves. You know, and there's something different.
There's some like villainous betrayal in the end. Like,
yeah, that we knew about the whole time. No, so I really enjoyed this. It's one of those shows that had to get, like what I'm saying is, had a beginning, and then but they were done really well. Like they you know, it didn't felt like the ending of the show was like, ugh, this was drug out, or it was like finished really quick. It was like very thought out, very well processed story. I enjoyed every character development that happened this season. I thought that this season was really good. I actually enjoyed this season more than all the other seasons, just because there is a couple storylines that I really enjoyed, and I think the ending was phenomenal. I loved the ending of the show. I thought it was fantastic. I had a good message, and you know,
the message was family.
The message was family, Dom. So no, it was fun. I had a lot of fun watching this show. There was some great episodes. There was also, you know, so many cameos that came in and like people to come in to help.
That there was so many that whenever they like showed up, my brain instantly went like, I know this is from another show.
Yeah.
I know this character is from like the original Ducktales, or like I know that this person was. I love the episode of the sitcom episode. I forget which. I think that may have been like episode 2 or something like that.
Yeah.
Where like the whole time like they're freaking. I forget who. I think it was Huey was freaking out that it's like, no, the freaking this is all wrong. It doesn't make sense. And Goofy's there the whole time, and then Donald unwishes his wish, and Goofy's just in the back. It's like, wait, Goofy's been here the whole time. It's like, of course. Why would we sponge on the a possibility of having a triple star voice acting cameo? Pooh.
Yeah. You know, that episode reminded me of Close Enough's episode about the sitcom.
Oh yeah,
Do you remember that? Like the
anytime I see like a sitcom episode, I think about that. I think of that with was it the opening credit roll of Community episode where Abed is like envisioning it all in his head.
Oh yeah.
I think about that.
Oh, the beginning of the gas leak season. That's what it was. Yeah.
Think about that all the time. I liked this season for very much the same similarities you said. Like whenever I watched the Ducktale episode, right? Not Ducktale, the Darkwing Duck episode. Seeing all the different villains like show up was like kind of like a weird nostalgia like hit. I am disappointed about one thing though, and that's they did not incorporate the Negaduck from last season.
Oh yeah.
Because at the end of the one episode, the one dude goes crazy and he becomes Negaduck. Yeah. I thought he was going to show up, but he doesn't now. So I felt like that was a missed opportunity to some degree. But you know, what can you do?
Yeah. There was you know, Keith David. I love Keith David. I was glad I was glad of the little funny thing that they did at the end with Keith David. I laughed so hard when it was going on, and then they had that music.
The fourth of the apocalypse, and then he brings him back. He's like, I live again. Oh no, the bagpipes becomes makes it inanimate. No. What I really liked about it was like the last episode of the season where they're all like, you know, he transforms into the flying Pegasus. Yeah, into the undead thing. Because that's the thing. Like they find out what his origin was, and he's like, I can explain. And then he transforms into like, because he uses the bagpipe, turns him into stone, and then Webigail or whatever her name is, Webby's friend, unfreezes him, and then he's like, I promise I would never do this again. That's when he transforms into like the Pegasus evil thing. And he's like, I'm alive again. I totally thought they were just going to have Keith David do a single line of cameo dialogue. I thought him saying I am alive and then get frozen, I thought that was just going to be the end of the cameo.
Well, the Easter egg in that whole transformation was great. It was great. I loved it. I don't know if you picked up on that.
Maybe not. I don't know.
It's gargoyles. Keith David was Goliath.
Well, yeah. I mean,
gargoyles. So like what's really funny is when he was transforming, like at the last episode, and he was like, I am, and the theme song of Gargoyles was playing. I was like, oh man, please say it. Please say you're Goliath. I will lose it. It'll be funny. But no, it was great. A lot of people probably didn't see that or get that reference, but that's because that was one of his biggest roles, like in the 90s, was he played Goliath in Gargoyles. So, and I know that there's like a reboot series coming out soon, and I think he reprises his role as Goliath. So pretty psyched about that too.
Yeah.
But that, and we got to see Launchpad like in the armor. That was
Launchpad in the Gizmo. I love the fact that he completely butchered the saying, and it's just like, close enough.
Close enough.
We also got to see Kit from Tailspin, which took me a bit. Like whenever he showed up, I'm like, wait, I thought it was supposed to be like Blue from like the Jungle Book. I thought that's who that was. And then I looked him up and I was like, oh no, that's the kid from Tailspin. Kid's like the little kid that used to do the sky thing, and then that's like whole plot point of the whole episode as well.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, it was interesting for them to do it. I also loved the cameo of the Rescuer Rangers. That made me really laugh. Whenever Launchpad's over there, like thinking, it's like, oh no, how do I have to look at the room? 4 walls, a glass door. Oh, how am I supposed to do it? And then they just fly and shoot it. I was disappointed they weren't like more interactive. I wanted them to be like actually talking and whatnot, but they just only went like, like almost like no one else could understand them, which I guess is canon.
Yeah, that's kind of canon. I don't know, except for, you know, I was gonna say in the show they talk to multiple animals. I don't get it.
No, I think they just didn't want to have like voice actors in the form of like make them give actual speaking roles.
You know, what it also brings back is Disney had 3 major cartoons that were really, really good back in the 90s, and DuckTales was one of them, Rescue Rangers, and Gargoyles. And I feel like this show does that justice. Like, you know, most of the time when you have a reboot and you're like, I don't know about this. But, you know, I think also the All-Star cast really takes it away. And just makes it fun. Like it made it feel like the old DuckTales to me. Like I enjoy the original DuckTales, which has 3 seasons. I enjoyed that, and I enjoyed this show. I was really into it. Now, first starting off, it's weird for me, especially like certain voice actors. Sometimes they don't, you know, I don't. It takes me a minute to warm up.
Mm-hmm. What?
Someone was backing up out of my alley, which was weird. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah, just in before Halloween where something's staring at you in the window.
No, like, so the other thing that I really loved about this show was we find out, like, one of the biggest things that happens in the season is like we find out Webby is actually Scrooge McDuck's like daughter.
Oh yeah.
She was like, I don't know, did they kind of say she was cloned from him?
She was cloned from him, yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
She was cloned from him, and then the 2 other ones were cloned from her.
Yeah,
that's why they couldn't do the proper that's why they couldn't do the papyrus thing like Wendy could, because she was a direct descendant and they were essentially a descendant of her. But theoretically, if she's a clone, she should be 100% clone, but it doesn't make much sense whenever she's like a female. I don't know how they clone and create, like, unless it's not like a 1-to-1 clone, but rather like we took his DNA and we embedded it into like an embryo or like an egg, and thus Wendy is born, right? I would have liked it if they like explained that they took both Scrooge's DNA and Goldie's DNA and combined it, because I do like the idea that like Wendy and Scrooge and Wendy kind of get together, or Goldie get together in some way. And you get a little bit with the whole the fountain of, I forget, it's the fountain of youth, like that was the episode. But you kind of get that feeling between the 2, like the 2 do care for each other. And I would have liked it if like it was confirmed like it's their 2 DNAs that created her, and that kind of like changes Goldie to want to stay around with Scrooge more. But they don't really do that. They don't really need to do that, especially with how they ended their series with like, and they continued to go on adventures type deal, feel to it. So like that was perfectly fine. I did like, it was weird for me for them to like talk about cloning so much. Like I was like, that's such a weird like point to take. Like Wendy is the clone of Scrooge, and it's like, like we had the cloning thing from last season with Gearloose doing his whole clone and then getting murdered multiple times, which is still one of my favorite lines. But there was a couple lines in this season that made me chuckle and laugh too. But yeah, no, just like I appreciate that. I like that. I liked the last episode also for the fact that it was like a camaraderie of all the different like allies that they gathered throughout the show. And the little cameo that they did with all the people who were locked in those cells. Like whenever they activated, you could see everyone. Like it had all the Pantheon characters and everyone else. Like that's cool. That's great.
I also like Jason
Manzuko as the big.
Yeah.
The second he spoke, I was like, "That's freaking Jason Manzuko."
Yep.
The second he talked,
he's so distinctful. Like take. He has a distinctful sound.
Have you ever watched Harmon's Quest?
Yeah.
So his character in Harmon Quest, anytime I hear his voice, that's who I think of. So the second he started speaking, all I could think of and hear was him like cackling, being like, "Aha, I'm actually this guy." Like, I love that series. I need to finish the series. They had a couple more seasons before they took it off of Verve. Molly, do not step on my stuff.
Well, like what was it? Him to me, like the first show I ever really watched him in was called Big Mouth, and he plays like a really weird character in that show. And then I watched him in Close Enough, and then I watched him in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. And every time I hear him talk now, I think of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, actually, of like.
Well, he's also in Invincible as well. He's Robot,
he plays,
or no, not Robot.
Rex.
He's a Rex.
He's Rex. Yeah.
Well, technically, he's also a robot. Like,
technically,
technically,
yeah.
which
Rex.
is the best kind of correct.
Yeah, but no, I was really excited to see him there. I think he did really well. I think the villains in this season was really good. I really especially loved the episode where Scrooge McDuck and man, I always get the ducks wrong. I think it's Louie. Louie's the green shirt one.
Louie, yeah.
Okay. Louie and Scrooge get sentenced to like some type of civil court from another dimension.
Oh yeah. Whenever they're like, "You're the reason why these villains exist," and then
it was
like,
so well done. Like I really enjoyed that episode. I enjoyed it because we got like a background of
you got background on basically on who is it? Magica,
that's her name.
Yeah, because you learn about her brother. Magica, Glomgold, which we already knew Glomgold.
Yeah, we already knew.
Who was the last person?
It was Magica, Glomgold, and
forgetting the second person that they talked about.
It was the Beagle Girl.
Oh yeah, Ma Beagle. Yeah. Because that wasn't even Scrooge. That was his great ancestor, and it's like that's good enough. Like, no, that's not how that court system works.
No.
I also love the fact that we got to see Daisy in the series too, and we get to see how like Daisy and Donald meets. And I love the fact that for her, she completely understands Donald. And then there's the whole scene where he sings to her on the elevator, and his voice goes from the scratchy to like this beautiful harmonic voice, and it's like, that's why she loves him.
Yeah, she knows she can see through his beauty of his like
she hears of talking. She hears something. It's the Zoidberg joke, right? Like the one girl that falls in love with Zoidberg because she can't smell.
And then she gets like the surgery. Yeah,
she gets the surgery. She smells now, but she hates the smell of good things. She only likes the smell of garbage. And so she's perfect for him. It's just like that. But I very much did enjoy that. I liked that they had that. I liked Goofy showing up. Oh, I love the Halloween episode. I just saw them in the Halloween
They made
outfit.
so many Disney references. Like it was so much fun.
Yeah. Speaking of references, in the one where they go to Japan with Gearloose to look for his old mentor and whatnot, that was straight up a Rocket Boy joke. But in the very beginning, as it's showing like Japan, they showed a straight up Sailor Moon cosplay, and I was like, oh my gosh.
Yep, of course they would. That and the Conquistador episode was the Conquistador like hotel episode was phenomenal. I really
are you talking about
that.
the spring episode?
Yeah, it was.
Okay,
yeah, because it's called the Conquistador Inn, and I was like, oh my gosh, they're doing like a Fountain of Youth episode. That's awesome. I just love how Webby
becomes old.
Died.
He's just like, here, you should have a drink of this. Like, I'm not old. I just had a bad day.
Oh man, it was great.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, it's it's kind of like a bittersweet ending though, because I wish that they had more episodes, but I totally understand that it was told. It's a good story. It ended well, so
yeah, they got to wrap up everything it did. You got to hear about all the different characters and finalizations of stuff. Like all of it was wrapped together, and it was a solid story told. I think the only thing for me, right, is I would have loved a spin-off series for Darkwing Duck. Because I think about the whole setup with like Darkwing, Launchpad, and the one girl, I forget her name, the little sidekick that they meet at the end of the season, or in the middle in that one episode. Like that was really interesting. I felt like they were very much trying to like set up this concept of a Darkwing spin-off for it, and I would have loved that. But no, they didn't do that. It would be cool. Oh, the other thing that I believe was a reference, I could be wrong, but Launchpad's Halloween costume was obviously meant to be like a Jason Voorhees ripoff, but the mask he had was the Mighty Ducks hat, which I instantly went like, hey. Which, fun fact, when we did the Blades of Steel game, I selected Edmonton, which apparently was a really good team, they said. And so I'm like, all right, cool. And they're like, oh, of course you pick Edmonton. I'm like, no, we're not Edmonton. We're Anaheim Mighty Ducks. Ducks fly together. Power of friendship is why we won that. That's all it was.
Yeah, and then my my boy Carlos Esposito made another.
I did not recognize that. I did not recognize his voice when he was.
He's really
live.
Yeah.
I think it is.
Yep. Phantom Blot. Yep.
Phantom Blot. Because I like looked up different people whenever I heard their voice and be like, wait, hold up, is that who I think it is? I did that. Like Keith David, I didn't have to look up. The second he said one word, I was like, Keith David. I looked up the guy who played Kit, and I'm like, okay, that's not who I thought it was. I looked up Steel Beak or whoever, Iron Beak or Iron Maul or whoever the one villain dude was, because I'm very positive that Jason Manzuka, and it's like, yep, Jason Manzuka.
Steel Beak, yep.
Steel Beak, yeah. So I was pretty happy with that, but I did not recognize who he was whenever I looked him up. Oh, I forgot to look up the villains from the Darkwing Duck episode because I was kind of like enthralled with that episode. But yeah, I don't know all those characters.
There was an episode. There was a voice actor in this season that I didn't recognize until the last episode of the series, and that was the genie.
Oh yeah, the genie. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know who that was until he said something. It's Jamal White. Jamal White is known for Steve Urkel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and he's also known for Sonic the Hedgehog. Both Sonic the Hedgehog adventures.
The confusion as a kid, wondering why something was so lighthearted and so dark the next episode.
You're like, what's going on here? Oh, man.
That was the greatest mystery as a kid, that whenever someone explained to me why that happened, I was like, that makes so much sense, and that explains why I was so afraid of Sonic growing up.
Oh yeah.
Specifically, I think it was Grandpa Sonic or whatever it was.
Oh yeah.
There's like
the rings.
He gets like turned into like a robot, and if he has a ring, he's okay. And there's like a point where he's like running after, like chasing Sonic. It was like Sonic EX level in my brain as a kid. Hated that.
Oh man. Yeah, I what I can say about this series is it's very well done.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. It focused on what Ducktales was to begin with. The original, where it was about family and like going on great adventures.
Grand adventures.
Family
is the greatest adventure of them all. It's like, well, that's the stupidest thing ever. If that voids the contract, oh, come on.
It's the greatest adventure of all. I knew that was going to happen. And then he like Was it like, I think it was like Louie or Huey like jumps in front of, or Donald, I forget who it was, like protects him.
Oh, Donald with the shield thing initially.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Oh, well, he shoots the thing, and Scrooge jumps to. Well, it's either Scrooge jumps to save Wendy or Wendy jumps to save Scrooge. I was very confused in the shot of what happened because I assumed he was shooting at Scrooge, so I think Wendy saved Scrooge, and then that's whenever he's just like, "Dad," which, I mean, if you're like an 80-year-old man and so a little kid calls you dad, my first instinct is not to be like, did she just call me dad? Like type thing. I would be like, what's wrong with your brain, kid? I had no child. And then he'd be explaining that and be like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Great. Love that though. But I do love, I do get like sappy whenever a series like that do those little endings where like they all come together. Even whenever like Launchpad was like, I'm not a hero, and then all the lights turn on and they're like, you're our hero type deal thing. And like even that made me a little sappy. I was like, okay, making me tear up. It's like, I'm a pilot. I'm like, oh, that was stupid, but go on.
Yeah, I'm a pilot.
I didn't understand the one thing I will say is that I didn't understand why the villains were helping the crow dude. You know, like some of them were just like, oh, we're going to defeat Scrooge McDuck. And I'm like, guys, you understand what he's doing, right? You understand the concept of what he's planning to do. He wouldn't just like tell you one thing and then do something else. And they do know, but then it's like, you all realize that once Scrooge is gone, you're going to just do what you want to do, which adds more adventures, which is not what he wants. You understand, like, you are collateral in this thing. Why are you siding with him? And so, no, that was a very, y'all didn't think about that, did you? Level of thing. Oh, speaking about an episode I really liked the episode where, I think it's the first episode where we are introduced to Steelbeak, when it's, them at the one, like, arcade place. And Louie and Launchpad think it's a game, and they go on like this whole big grand adventure, and Launchpad gets hit with the smart ray and becomes like Agent 007 Launchpad.
Yeah.
Oh, that was so funny to me. And then like the end where he's just like, no, I have to sacrifice my intelligence. No, I wish I was more. There's so much I could do with this intelligence. I could be good for you. It's like, Launchpad, you've always been good for me. He's like, yeah, you're right. And then like the music swells. I was just like, what the heck? That was a good episode. I liked that episode.
Yeah.
As well as the episode with who the heck is it? I forget his name. He's the like social media beak person. Whenever you find out that his mom is the it person, and she has never let her son be the it person. And that episode where they first meet Daisy, like Daisy gets revealed.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know, I just like the whole idea of that, like Donald and all of them are trying to do this big like heist, and then like they get to the girl and she's like, what, planning an elaborate heist to try and get me to put you on the it list? Yeah, you're not the first ones to do that. You are not interesting. Goodbye. And I'm just like, dang. Louis got told. But yeah, I liked the season a lot. I liked that we got 2 movies.
Yep.
In the season we got 6 seasons in a movie for sure.
6 seasons in a movie.
So that I felt like that was a great continuation. Oh, there was also a reference to the original Ducktales as well. Whenever Scrooge and the kids get thrown back into the past, it's the one episode where Scrooge is freaking out on the pancakes.
Yeah.
The second I saw the screen, I was like, oh, I have remembrance of that scene. Maybe that may have been in the opening title crawl of the original Ducktale.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, I appreciated that. I appreciate all the different like universes that they showed and looked through in it. So, no. I like the show a lot. I read online, like, because after I like finish the season, or like if I'm midway through, I like to go on like Reddits and look at people's opinions of the show. There was a lot of people who didn't like the season because they felt like it was too many characters being introduced and done. And I understand that, but I don't think it's that bad. Because like almost every episode still focused on the family. You just always had like one or two side characters added. And that was fine. Like I didn't think that was bad. And especially because of how the ending was, they needed to have those episodes leading up where you got equated with all their like past friends, so that way the ending made more of an impact whenever all their past friends helped them to like escape and everything. So I thought season 3 was good. I didn't think it was bad at all. I liked it a lot. Yeah, it had a lot of funny moments to me that made me chuckle and laugh. So, oh yeah, I just remember one of the things that made me laugh when Huey was trying to walk across the rope, and he's like, "Gee, woodchuck guy, like, what do I do?" He's like, "Well, I'm not really sure." And the lava comes up, hits him, he gets on fire. He's like, "Ah, help me!" And she's like, "I don't know, I'll put you out." It's like, "I'm a figment of your imagination. Why are you imagining this?" That's like such a like adult preteen humor of like this concept that just man, that made me bust out laughing. I love that. So no, I liked it a lot. I'm glad we watched it. I watched the original 2 seasons, and whenever I watched it, I definitely went around and told people to watch it. I felt like 3 seasons were good. I think 3 seasons of it solid, did the story, ended. The only thing if they would have done a 4th season was do a 4th season that was more like Wendy focus. I felt like the 3rd season was a split between Huey and Wendy, because like the whole ending basically movie was only about Wendy. It wasn't about the kids, it was about Wendy finding out who she was. And they could have made a whole season of that, and that would have been fine with me, but I'm perfectly content with everything. I thought it was solid. I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the show, and I'm glad that, hopefully it steers into like, other things.
Someday, man.
Disney just announced like a whole bunch of other shows that are coming. Like Inside Out's getting its own show now.
Okay. I haven't watched any. I haven't even watched the first Inside. I think I watched like 20% of it and then just didn't finish it.
That makes sense. There's a lot of things that they're doing like that, and they just had D23, so they just announced everything. Like Disney World's about to get huge.
Yeah, I saw them announce a live action Stitch. That's it. Stitch. 626. They announced a Invincible 3 is the last thing I heard. Like I also saw.
Incredibles 3.
Incredible 3, not Invincible 3. Yeah.
Well, they just announced like all their
Disney did.
See, yeah. Whoa. No, so they actually announced yesterday like all their park details, like what's coming to park. Like there's an Indiana Jones ride that's coming to Disney World. They're doing a Villains World at Magic Kingdom, and they are doing a Cars World, and they're doing a Monster University World with a roller coaster that's the door roller coaster where you ride the doors.
Like you read the that's pretty cool. I think
it's pretty sweet. Yeah, and then they're finally like adding Avengers, Avengers rides to Disneyland. Like they only have like 2 rides right now, but they're going to keep adding them more.
Of course. They got that IP. They need to like cash in on that.
And Kanto ride is coming too, and then there's like a whole bunch of other stuff. I forget what else there is in Kanto. Have you ever watched Encanto?
Oh, I thought it was like Enchanto or something like that.
Oh no, Encanto is how you pronounce it.
Okay, I totally thought you said Encanto, like in the Pokemon like universe, like Encanto region. So when you said Encanto, I was like, what the freak?
Yeah, they announced a whole bunch of stuff because, and they also announced that like they're doing a Lion King ride in Paris.
Do you get to see like Mufasa get knocked off the edge and like
I don't know.
You're the bison and you just drive over his corpse? Like that would be awesome. Traumatize a whole group of you.
Dude.
You just see like Simba up above you, and then Mufasa falls, and then you ride over the rails.
Well, I told my wife, like, I was like, I told her we went and saw, like, was it the 30th anniversary Lion King, and she's like, "What are you most excited for to see on the screen?" And I was like, "Mufasa dying in big screen 4K." She's
4K.
like, "Stop it."
It'll be great. I'm gonna record it.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff coming to Disney, so I'm pretty excited. So yeah, me and my wife are always excited about that kind of stuff. So, but yeah,
Heck yeah.
But back to DuckTales. I really enjoyed it, and I'm glad that we watched it.
Yep. Same. I'm glad that you enjoyed it. I'm glad you liked it. I will definitely keep force feeding you more animation shows because that's who I am and that's what I care about. That's from something.
Zelensky Auto Parts.
That's it. Yeah.
Tommy Boy.
Yep. All right, awesome. I think that basically covers it for our episode of DuckTales. Next week, we're doing House of Dragon Season 2. It finished up to some fans' disapproval. I've watched one episode of it. I have not watched the rest, so I get to enjoy however it goes, and I get to nerd out on frustration or not. I talked with my our friend Jordan at work, and he asked if we were going to do House of Dragon. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, do you want to join us? And he's like, I maybe. So maybe next time we may have a guest to join us for the show. It'll be the old the Night's Watch.
Nerds Watch
Once again. Classic.
Classy.
We'll get to do that. So, all right, Austin. Well, that basically covers it for this week. So I want to thank you, Austin, so much for joining me as always. I want to thank you all so much for tuning in.